Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at the final figure that is included in this box of figures that was recently sent to me from Mojo Fun. It is the Mandschurosaurus. This is the final of this group of their 2020 figures, but they actually have quite a few others that will be coming out, but they just weren't quite ready to send to review quite yet. But this one I kind of saved for last because it was one that I was probably the most excited about overall when it comes to all of these 2020 Mojo Fun figures, because it again is a Mandschurosaurus and we really do not get figures of this. And in fact, the only one that I can ever recall is probably the PNSO one. And that's really about it that I can remember. I don't recall anybody else ever making one. Maybe Kyoto may have at some point, because they actually continuously make a lot of very cool species and smaller figures that I just, for some reason, haven't really been collecting. But as far as a much larger scale figure goes, this is the only one I can think of besides PNSO, and it honestly looks fantastic at first glance. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at this right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see that the skin texture of the head looks really nice. Beautiful detailing around the eye as well. The eye is painted with an orangish type of a coloration, and then it's got a nice black pupil. You can see it shining in the light really nicely. Has a very lifelike appearance to the gloss coat they've used. Really nice paint job up here on the beak as well, as far as the nice dark gray that they've used. I think that contrasts really well with the rest of the coloration on the face. It doesn't look out of place or anything like that. So that was a really nice choice on the part of Mojo Fun. And there's some really nice detailing throughout the beak as well. And you can also see that inside the mouth there is a nice pinkish color for the overall coloration inside the mouth on the tongue and gum line and everything. Has a very realistic appearance. It's just a little too hard to get in there and actually see it. Looking at the head sculpt, you can definitely get a good idea of the skull shape for sure. A lot of really nice bone structure throughout. Nice nostrils right there. As we lead back here into the throat area, you can see that hanging skin that I was talking about previously. On the prototype, it was painted with a reddish color, which I really did quite like, but you can see that the hanging skin does still look really nice, and this yellowish brown color they've used is a very natural looking tone of color, as is this darker brown, and you can see it kind of cuts off halfway through the face, and that's similar to what we see all the way up here until we get to about the neck, and then it starts to kind of zigzag down onto the body and give kind of a striping effect, something that is very lizard-like in my opinion, and looks really cool in the figure for sure. Nice detailing here in the neck. You can kind of see some of the skin scrunching up and bunching up, especially right here at the base of the neck, and then up here where the neck is about to connect to the head, because the dinosaur has its head turned quite nicely to the left. Really nice attention to detail by Mojo Fun right there. You can see the shoulder blade here as we move up into the body from the arm. Nice musculature here in the arm as well. You've got some very nicely sculpted hands, some beautifully painted nails down there also. You can kind of see some creasing and stretching of the skin right there as the arm is pulling off of the body a little bit. Beautiful scale work as we run along the body. Really get a sense of like the upper part of the rib cage here moving down into the body, but the dinosaur is so nicely fed. It's definitely a little bit beefy, so it's very healthy, and you don't really actually see the rib cage or anything because it's not thin enough to show that off. You've got some skin folding and skin wrinkling there at the lower part of the stomach, trailing into the leg there. Very nice muscle definition of the rear leg. You've also got the hip bone right there, some nice calf muscles, and some really nice wrinkling here in the joint of the knee, along with a nicely sculpted out kneecap in the front. Beautifully sculpted feet down here, but a little bit of sloppiness on that middle toe, and actually over here too. The black paint has just kind of run up onto the toes a little bit, but it's nothing to really complain about. Nice detailing on the underside as well. Really nice gloss coat on both the nails of the hand and feet. So that looks really cool, definitely a realistic appearance. As we move up into the tail, you can again see how nice the sculpt work is. Really nice creasing in the skin as we run out the length of the tail, and the skin texture looks great. Very nice, very thick looking tail as we lead out to a very slight curve as we get to the end, and it also curves down just a little bit. Very natural appearance, I think, when it comes to the overall positioning of the body. As we lead back into the neck on this side, you can again see the skull shape a little bit there with the very nice head sculpt, nice hanging skin here in the throat, and the really beautiful skin texture. And again, the skin is stretched a little bit more You don't see it quite as bunched up or anything as you saw on the opposing side with the dinosaur facing its head toward the left. It would be stretching the skin over here. So really nice attention to detail on the part of Mojo Fun. You can also see the skin kind of stretching off of the body when it comes to this front arm, pulling the body and stretching the skin. Really nicely done there. Beautifully sculpted hands and nails painted quite nicely over here as well. You can also see the skin kind of stretching and pulling off of the body, but for the most part, the dinosaur, as far as its limbs go, it's in a fairly neutral position. The legs definitely are. The arms are a little bit different in comparison to the opposing one, but they're not too far off. So you're not going to see too much on this side going on as far as like wrinkling of the skin or movement in the skin compared to what you saw on the opposing side. It's going to be very similar because the limbs of the dinosaur are pretty much in the same position. You can also kind of see some of the musculature has been given a very nice but slightly darker brown to really kind of bring that detailing out to you. Really beautiful shading on the part of Mojo Fun. The foot over here looks really nice also. Really beautiful muscle definition all over, and the tail looks great as we run out the length of the tail on this side. Nice ridges that run along the spinal column of the dinosaur from right about the center of the head, right behind it, all the way out to almost the tip of the tail. Really, really nice as far as the sculpting goes. Even the underside is beautifully sculpted. The paint application itself also looks really cool. Everything on it looks pretty natural. It doesn't look like paint on a figure. It looks like body color. So really well done in every aspect, I think, of this very cool Mandschurosaurus. As far as the size goes, from the head... Whoa, we're going for a walk because I'm pushing his tail down back here by accident. But from the head to the tail, you're looking at about 10¼ inches or around 26 centimeters. And for a height to the top of the head, about 3 inches or around 8 centimeters. To the top of the tail, you're looking at about 4½ inches or around 11½ centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Paparex, the Mattel Colovosaurus, the Attack Pack figure, and Mr. Robert Muldoon next to our Mandschurosaurus. But looking at these guys with him, you should be able to tell that the Mandschurosaurus is actually pretty big in comparison to a lot of the 2020 Mojo Fun figures. Definitely has some significant size to it, and a good bit more size than most, but at the same time, it's a really nice size. Definitely a very cool figure to have a little bit larger because there's so few figures out there of it. So this 2020 Mojo Fun Mandschurosaurus is awesome, just like I expected it to be. As soon as I saw the promotional images for it, I was super psyched about it just because of the fact that we were getting a Mandschurosaurus, but also because I really do like the sculpt of this one overall. I think that it's really beautifully done, and such an obscure species for Mojo Fun to be pulling out. I really did not expect it at all. Not in any way, shape, or form would I have expected them to pull out a Mandschurosaurus with their 2020 line, but they proved me wrong completely and did just that, and I really think that it was a great move on their choice and a beautiful species to decide to take on. Definitely a very underrated dinosaur, and something, like I said, as far as prehistoric figures go, we really don't get very many of them. So it's awesome to have another addition to this species, and I really think that Mojo Fun 100% nailed it overall. The sculpt is really, really beautiful looking. It's in a very nice natural pose. It doesn't look panicked or anything, very relaxed, just kind of chilling, maybe taking a bite to eat. The paint job is really nice as well. Something that I think you would see on like a modern day lizard, but it looks really good on the figure. I'm not normally a big fan of this kind of very solid type of a look when it comes to the stripes and everything in comparison to the body, but it actually looks really cool on this figure, and I think it was actually a really nice choice. Definitely looks really, really good overall when it comes to the sculpt, paint, detailing, everything. So if you want to buy this Mandschurosaurus, make sure you keep checking back to djenkins.com along with everythingdinosaur.com, as both of those websites should be stocking these in the very near future. And as soon as they do come into stock, make sure you pick up this beautiful 2020 figure from Mojo Fun. But before you do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.